COVID-19. It's been all the talk over the past couple of years, and without a doubt, it's changed how we work, how we learn, and how we interact with others. Even as we begin to shift our thinking and move into a post-pandemic world, the effects on physical and mental health are clear. So today, I'm here to share with you how in a time filled with challenges, I shifted my view on stress from being that of a barrier to instead an opportunity to support the communities that I'm involved in. Now, I'd like to start off with the idea of a sense of community. There was a study done in Italy in the early stages of the pandemic that looked at university students' academic stress levels and their perceived sense of belonging in their communities. And what the study found was that community was a protective factor against academic stress. Students who felt a sense of belonging in their communities and felt a place in their community had lower levels of academic stress. Now, I've recently completed my undergraduate degree in nursing in the University of Alberta, and I had a similar experience in my education. Toward the beginning of the pandemic, educational institutions were hit hard. Classes moved online, exams postponed, grading schemes changed. I, like many others, began to lose touch with the physical nature of face-to-face relationships, which in a profession such as nursing is extremely important. I'm sure you can imagine that learning how to nurse through your laptop screen at 8 a.m. while you're still lying in bed is not very ideal. But I was stressed, not only in my academic life, but in my personal life as well. In a time when everything felt so new, I had a fear of the unknown. And something that helped me through this time of stress was a great sense of community. In my academic life, when my life was turned upside down, I found a lot of support in my peers. These were people who knew exactly what I was going through. And although none of us really knew what was going to happen, we knew that we were in it together. It's this sense of togetherness that allows a strong sense of community to be built. And that was made apparent to me as I spent time in the hospital as a nursing student. Now I spent time in the ICU, COVID units, testing centers, and various other places in the healthcare system throughout each wave of the pandemic. And I've seen death, families grieve, and patients struggling to breathe. And at the time, these were very eye-opening experiences to me as a student. But this was the daily reality for healthcare workers that I was working alongside throughout the entirety of the pandemic and still today. I saw the toll that the pandemic was taking on healthcare workers, whether it was staffing shortages, increased workloads, being surrounded by death and suffering. These are just some of the challenges they faced. So as a student, as part of my education, I conducted a survey among nurses on a COVID-19 unit at the Royal Alex Hospital here in Edmonton, and this was at the height of the fourth wave of the pandemic. And in this survey, I asked 3 questions. How stressed are you? What makes you stressed? And how do you deal with that stress? And to no surprise, every single respondent on that survey was stressed out of their mind. But what was interesting was how they chose to respond to that stress. It wasn't through support programs put out through the hospital or mindfulness techniques or coming home to their spouse or kids. Rather, it was with one another. In this time of immense job pressure and stress, the most effective method of dealing with it was talking to someone who knew exactly what you were going through. And that's empathy in its purest form. The best work has been done in the pandemic when people come together and support one another. Now, community can mean something different to everyone. It can be your family, friends, colleagues, peers. You can be part of a business community or a religious community. You're probably already a part of many different communities. No matter who or what it is, we rely on those around us for support and empathy, and we give the same in return. It's through this togetherness that we're able to make it through the challenges of stress together. So, these challenges are real. So for the show of hands, who here has felt stressed during the pandemic? Okay, so that's everybody. So I need to come up with some better survey questions. But no, that's the first step. So acknowledging your stress, but what's next? The problem with many programs and solutions today is that they're focused towards preventing stress or preventing burnout. But what happens when you're already there? What happens when you're past that point? You're already stressed out, you're already burnt out, where do you go now? It's completely normal to feel stressed, but we need to change the way we think about it. Stress can be a good thing, and that sounds crazy weird to say, but stress is an opportunity. Take it and ask yourself, what can I make of this situation? How can I make a difference for myself and others? By redirecting the stress you feel into supporting the communities that support you, you're also helping yourself. With every stressful situation, you'll become better, stronger, and more prepared for the future. The pandemic has emphasized how much we really need one another. And there was a recent study done at UBC that looked at happiness levels and people's willingness to help others during the pandemic. And what the study found was that people who volunteered, People who helped others, whether that was emotionally or in a tangible way, had higher levels of happiness and greater satisfaction in their relationships. And that goes both ways. The giver of support often is the recipient as well. So of course, what I've talked about today, transforming the view on stress, supporting the communities that support you, it's easier said than done. With any change, it's a process. It takes time, and there will be mistakes made along the way. I know for me, in the past couple of years, I've made decisions that I would change if I had the chance. But you can't live a life of regret. And you take these mistakes and you take these challenges as learning opportunities. Because on your journey of learning, you'll build a better you. So moving forward, I challenge you to think about what community means to you. Who are the people you turn to that support you? Next, ask yourself, what can I make of this situation? What opportunity is presented to support myself and to support others? Because the only way through is together.